Takes Ritter to the end zone, looking for Pierce. Did he hang on? Yes. Touchdown. Beat the back as I've been around. Here he goes again. Busts free. Jerome Ford down the sideline. Foot race. House call. Touchdown. 79 yards. Big run in the Peach Bowl. This is a big one, too. And it's going to go all the way to the house on the first play from scrimmage.
It's Bearcat Blitz time on the Believe Network. Back half of the week show right here, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook, and your spot to bet on college football and college basketball this season. Zooming in on the Cincinnati Bearcats football odds to win the Big 12. They are hovering at plus 950. You could have got them 10-1 earlier in the week. They're down to plus 950. Plus 330 is the mark for BYU, and minus 175 heavy favorites in favor of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Those two schools actually square off this weekend, a massive game in terms of the trajectory of the Big 12 championship game matchup. If Texas Tech loses that contest, Cincinnati can get a little bit more breathing room in their path to the Big 12 championship appearance. Still a long way to go, though, and they likely, no matter the result, are going to have to win at least 2 of their final 3 games to get in there. But you can make your wager right now and get ahead of the Bearcats' success if they have it down the stretch here. Plus 950 on the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the Big 12 this season. FanDuel Sportsbook, make them your spot to wager on college football this weekend, where you can access some of their boosts that will be going live throughout the next couple days and beyond. We love FanDuel Sportsbook, great presenting sponsor of Bearcat Blitz. Pretty abbreviated show for you all today in a football bye week, and a lot of bye games for the Bearcats basketball team. I mean, there's not a ton to talk about in terms of the matchups with these games when you're looking at 20-plus point spreads, basically, for much of the non-conference slate outside of the Dayton and Louisville matchups in the next month or so. But next couple weeks or so, I should say. Obviously, got the Xavier game in the mix coming up as well. We will touch on that. The high pace in game 1 for basketball, their result against Western Carolina, an easy cover, easy win. Neil and I made you some money if you went with our picks on Monday night. And we will give our top reason to watch a game against Georgia State that is widely expected to be another massive blowout by the Bearcats. We'll fit in a little Jake Golday news and Sauce Gardner news to start off the show as well. All that coming up on Bearcat Blitz. Diving into our first segment here on Bearcat Blitz, bringing in my co-host Neil Meyer. Neil, Sauce Gardner, get to this news real quick because it's very relevant to the Bearcats' sphere of influence. Going to the Indianapolis Colts, reuniting his practice battles with Alec Pierce. Those two used to just go up against each other every single day back in 2021 and earlier than that. They sharpened each other up for the NFL, and now they're going to get to sharpen each other as top-end talents in the league at this point in the 2020s. Sauce Gardner, one of the best receivers in the, not one of the best receivers, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, and Alec Pierce, arguably the best deep threat receiver in the entire league this season, making a lot of hay on that front with his big catches. Cool news, Neil, that Alec Pierce gets to reunite with Sauce Gardner in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and while we're talking about this trade, Russ, it's always worth noting, too, obviously, the trade deadline every year happens to be on my birthday every year, so it was cool to see that. And then this was kind of the deal that nobody was expecting, right? I mean, Sauce Gardner gets the rookie extension, and honestly, now looking back on it, the Indianapolis Colts got a freaking steal for Sauce. You give up 2 first-round draft picks, and he's still
I wouldn't say that, but yeah, keep going. They're diving into Daniel Jones' locked-in life, and that's not a life that I would want to be locked in for if I were a Colts fan. But we're not a Colts podcast, so we're not really going to bring that up.
But it's interesting to see, right? 2 first-round draft picks and A.D. Mitchell for Sauce Gardner, and I mean, Sauce even probably wasn't expecting to get traded. Let's be honest. I mean, if New York was thinking about rebuilding, trading their every superstar that they had, especially a young one in Sauce, if you would have asked me that Sauce Gardner would have been traded earlier this week, probably would have told you no shot. But that's the NFL trade deadline. But it's really cool to see him and Alec back together. Because Russ, were you on the beat just then when Sauce was at UC? Was that your
Yeah, I
first
caught
year?
some of the last few practices, but it was kind of the beginning of the Cincinnati Bearcats on SI journey.
Yeah, so basically, since you were late to it, every practice for 2, 3 years straight, Sauce and Alec would line up against each other, and they would start off every rep by shaking each other's hand just as a mutual thing of respect, and then they would go at it. So overall, I mean, iron sharpens iron is the motto you hear in sports nowadays, but it's very cool to see them kind of end back together in Indianapolis. I'm really excited for what Sauce can do in Lou Anarumo's defense, but man, it's been a whirlwind for them. I mean, Sauce and AP was always a great battle at UC, but now to see what they're capable of doing, and it's going to be cool to see how going against a guy like Sauce, now two-time All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year at one point, go up against Alec, and how does that make Alec translate and be a little bit better than what he already is in the NFL, and how does he take his game to the next step? It's going to be very cool to see.
Yeah, huge need for the Colts in terms of the quarterback position. A pretty penny to pay for a player that is not a quarterback in terms of 2 first-round picks and your second-round pick last year, but they're going all in, and they believe Daniel Jones could take them to the promised land. We will see how that plays out in the next few months. Way better situation for Sauce Gardner. He gets a little closer to his alma mater, gets closer with the team, closer to a teammate, gets to a much better tax scenario in terms of his contract and how much money he's going to be able
Yeah.
to take home at the end of the day after all of those checks and balances come out of that paycheck in terms of
Well, Russ,
Indiana taxes versus New
it's
York.
worth noting that too, like while he's in New York, because technically, the Jets and the Giants play in New Jersey. He's getting hit with two state taxes essentially.
Right. And I think New Jersey taxes are like just as brutal as New York taxes. So,
Now you come to Indy and you only got the one, but
right. That's
still,
much more
well, I
ideal.
mean,
I
it's
would
going
much
to
rather
be,
play for the Colts than the Jets at this point in the calendar. That's for sure. In
yeah, absolutely.
much more ways than one for sure. As we move to a different piece of news surrounding the Cincinnati Bearcats football team, Jake Golday, a semifinalist for the Butkus Award, annually earned by the nation's top linebacker. This is a cool latest kind of check mark for Jake Golday. He's one of just 12 semifinalists, Neil. This is the highest honor that can go out to an FBS linebacker, and it's a worthy kind of checkpoint for Golday to hit here, as he's tied for the most tackles in the Big 12 with 80, 25th nationally in tackles per game at 8.9. He's got 3.5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and he's been a 2-time Defensive Player of the Week in the Big 12 this season, once after the Nebraska game and also after the Iowa State game. He's led the team in tackles 6 times, and he is in the mix with a few other names. Out of the Big 12, I believe only one other Big 12 linebacker made it, and that was Jacob Rodriguez, the Texas Tech just maven. He's probably the odds-on. I don't even know if they have betting odds for this award, but I would say he's the odds-on favorite to win this award with, I think, Neil, 7 forced fumbles this year. Just
Yeah,
an
which is
absolute,
crazy.
like, he's almost averaging a forced fumble a game, which is absurd. That's an absurd rate to be at right now. But despite the obvious kind of leading candidate being Jacob Rodriguez, I would say Jake Golday has made a firm case for himself as being one of the best linebackers in the entire country.
Yeah, most certainly. And even that, not only one of the best linebackers in the country, but also solidifying his case to be a potential day 2 draft pick,
Yeah.
essentially, right? So, I mean, you look down at what Jake
I think it would be
Golday,
shocking at this point if he doesn't
it
go
would be
in the first 2 days.
very shocking if he's not a day 2 draft pick. But Russ, you look at the from year 1 to year 2 with Jake Golday, we saw the potential last season, right? Second on the team with 58 tackles, named honorable mention for the Big 12. And then he is just dominating this year. You mentioned the 80 tackles, which are most in the Big 12, nearly 9 tackles a game, 3.5 sacks. Like, when you look at the stats and when you look at Cincinnati on film, Jake Golday's everywhere, legit everywhere. Like, you can do so many different things with them. And that's what makes this story for Jake so unique, right? Because 2 years ago, he's playing at Central Arkansas, and I don't think if you would have asked him, hey, 2 years ago, do you think you would be up for the Butkus Award? Probably
I don't
would have
even know if
honestly
he I
told,
don't even know if he was playing linebacker 2 years ago.
no, he was playing D end, which is
Right.
crazy. So, I mean, he was just in that transition. So, I mean, if you would have asked him 2 years ago if he probably would have been playing the best ball of his career, up for one of the most prestigious awards in college football, he probably would have told you no. He probably would have. But you look now, and I mean, his journey is so unique from Central Arkansas to last season, an all Big 12 honorable mention, to now arguably one of the best defensive players in the Big 12, right there with Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, the story is so unique. And a guy like Jake Golday, this goes to the little tip your cap to the recruiting staff and whatnot for the hidden gem they found with Golday. But Russ, if I remember right, this is the first time a Cincinnati Bearcat has been named for a Butkus semifinalist for the award since Ivan Pace Jr. So
Yeah.
overall, you're putting yourself in your great categories there if you're Jake Golday, but there's still some work to be done. Like Russ, Jake Golday could arguably finish with 100, 120 tackles this season, which could be up there in terms of program history, most in a season, whatnot. We would have to do some digging into that, but he's on pace to have one of the most electric and dominant defensive performances for a single season for Cincinnati football history.
Right, especially, I mean, the consistency right there. 81.8 PFF grade this season, only behind Antoine Peak Jr. on the Cincinnati Bearcats defense at 82 overall. But Peaks played less than half the snaps of Jake Golday.
Mm.
Only Matthew McDoom has played more snaps on this defense this season than Jake Golday's overall number, sitting at, what is it, 509 snaps. Matthew McDoom sitting at 511. Those are the only guys over 490 so far this season. So just goes to show the trust that Court Braswell, Tyson Veit have in those two guys being the kind of key pillars of what they want to do, defending the run in the first and second level, defending the pass there, and then obviously in the outside with Matthew McDoom. But all props to Jake Golday. He's done a fantastic job. I love the winning stash he's got going right now. He's rocking that
And
thing.
he made it known too, Russ, that he is not shaving the stash until
This,
the end of the season.
yeah, no reason to. The vibes are too high right now. Don't want to do that at all for sure.
Unless
And
we
this
come
is
back from the bye week, Russ heading into Arizona, and he does shave the mustache. Who knows? But right now, he's standing firm on keeping the stash.
Yeah, no doubt. He had it on Tuesday when I was at practice Tuesday, and then when a lot of the veterans got a little bit of a lighter practice Tuesday, getting a little bit of lighter workload during the bye week, so that was good to see. It was a very jovial, fun Tuesday practice, even with the Saturday result against Utah. I don't think that has really thrown any dark clouds over this program at all. They still know they have all their goals in front of them, and they still know that if they win out the final three games, they will be playing for a spot in the college football playoff. Let's get to a quick break here. And we'll close out the show talking about the basketball result over Western Carolina 94-63, and we'll give a reason to watch for the Friday night action against Georgia State at home between the Cincinnati Bearcats basketball team and the Panthers. All that coming up on Bearcat Blitz, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can bet on the Cincinnati Bearcats basketball team to win the Big 12. A little bit longer odds right now than the Cincinnati Bearcats football team, but hey, the football team was sitting with this similar number just a few weeks ago, and we've seen how much they've climbed in recent weeks. Cincinnati sitting at 35-1 to win the Big 12 right now. Houston at plus 145, BYU at plus 500, and Texas Tech at 6-1. Your top three odds teams to win the Big 12. Kansas at 7-1. That's a little bit of a juicy number right there, especially with Darren Peterson looking as great as he did to start things off. But a ton. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 6 teams with 8-1 or lower odds to win the Big 12. Nobody rising to the top in terms of a major favorite just yet. But obviously, we're like one game in for all these teams. It's basically still the preseason in terms of almost everybody besides Arizona has faced a pretty bad team. Arizona got the job done over Florida on Monday night. Koa Pete looking like a
Yeah, he looked like a
monster
top.
freshman. I'm
It
excited to
looked
see
like
him,
a
Neil.
top freshman.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited
it
to
was
see him.
cool. You mentioned Koa. I was actually able to sit and talk to him out in Big 12 Media Days, just one on one, and it was about 4 minutes. Such a young, humble kid, man. And it's great to kind of see him have the success he has, but he's going to give UC some problems. Safe to say. He's going to give UC some problems. And people were sleeping on him coming out of high school. Like Russ, he played like a top 5 draft pick versus Florida.
That he did.
So
Arizona sitting there at 8-1 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Check out those odds now, and we'll be right back with more of the show presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. This is Bearcat Blitz. Neil, 94-63 win for the Bearcats over Western Carolina on Monday night. High pace affair for the Cincinnati Bearcats. I believe they're still in the top 10 nationally in terms of total pace that they set in that first game against the Western Carolina Cougars. I think they are. I don't know. I can't keep all these 350 plus D1 mascots straight, but 300 plus teams have now played according to Bearcat Bunch, and Cincinnati's still seventh in the country in average possession length. That is kind of my biggest thing to look at in game number 2 here. Can they continue running and gunning like they did against Western Carolina, get up close to that 80 possession mark like they had in Monday night? I think it fits this roster perfectly with how they built it. Baba Miller rolling down the lane. He looked great on Monday. Very
great.
athletic, fluid, got to the basket at will, had some dribble drive moves, Neil, that broke down the defense in the half court that we didn't see from guys last season in terms of just the agility to get around the corner on some of these defenders. 18 points, 10 rebounds for Miller, 18 points for Mustafa Cham, 18 points, the biggest point total in a freshman debut since Sean Kilpatrick back in 2010 for Sean Abayev. I think we're going to be getting a lot more of biggest scoring total since this time, biggest point total since Sean Kilpatrick for Sean Abayev a lot this season. He is that good a talent, and a talent that you can run with in the open floor, and a guy that can create easy, good, high percentage shots at the 3-point line with that step back. He said after the post, I wanted to ask him what's his favorite shot to hit in the post game press conference, and he said it's step back jumper is what he likes to go to most. It's a clean step back jumper, and one that they're going to be able to get up a lot if they keep this pace rolling against Georgia State. So looking at that, Neil, for the Friday night game, can they continue to hover around that 80 possession pace? And once again, can they cover what I expect to be a 23 to 24 point spread, something like that, similar to the number they had against Western Carolina? That's the gauge for success in these first week for Cincinnati. Win and cover the spread in dominant fashion.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And the biggest thing I'm going to be looking forward to here on Friday night will be, can Cincinnati really push out and push the tempo again too? So if they can continue to push the tempo out, like you mentioned, Russ, I believe I saw the post 71% from inside 2-point range, which was the highest in recent years, like the 10th highest field goal percentage in program history. So you love to see that number. I would
Really,
like
the
to see
only
them
thing that was an issue was the turnovers, 15 turnovers. But that
15
happens
turnovers.
in your first game running at that
Mhm.
type of level with all these different names. So I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah. And then another big thing too, obviously Sincere Harris getting a little bit banged up. We don't have the
Right.
definitive update. That's a big thing to kind of monitor as well, but sounds like it's just maybe a sprained wrist, who knows, but
I would be
uh
shocked if he plays tomorrow night. I would
yeah,
be
I
absolutely
would
shocked.
not expect him to play tomorrow, especially after coming out early, because Russ, it looked like it was bothering him. We all saw that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how does this kind of severity of the injury, who knows what it is yet, kind of hinder what the lineup might be now. In a big game like this, Jonah Hayes in his 4th year at Georgia State, the former Xavier assistant coach, they might not need him. Get him healthy heading into Dayton. It's going to be interesting. But for Cincinnati, I would love to see them continue to push the tempo. You mentioned Sean Abayev. Sean Abayev is going to get his buckets. He's going to be one of the top freshmen in the country this year. We know that. But Baba Miller looked fantastic. Mustafa Sham looked fantastic as well. It was good to see those two bigs get going. And like you mentioned, see Baba Miller drive to the lane and get by defenders, whether that's dropping a shoulder and then swinging through. That's what you want to see, especially with Jalen Haynes out for a significant period of time.
Right.
We were wondering who was going to be that guy to step up, but Wes Miller even said it. He's like a 7-footer that can play all 4 positions, essentially the 1 through the 4, and he showed that on Monday night. So it's going to be interesting to see, can they come out and sustain that pace and sustain these kind of performances. But for Cincinnati, they need to come out and they need to lay it on Georgia State on Friday night and get things moving heading into the Dayton game on Tuesday.
Yeah, Sean Abayev, I would say, is the top reason to watch this game on Friday night.
Yep,
Just the
I'm there
shot
with you.
making. I think he's going to be able to absolutely dice up this Georgia State team. I mean, Neil, they got beat by 22 against Eastern Michigan earlier this week.
Yeah,
This is not a good basketball outfit at all. As bad or maybe worse than Western Carolina, which entered the game 204th on KenPom and 290th on ESPN's Basketball Power Index. A wide gap there. And that just shows you, Neil, it's these metrics, even the betting lines, they don't really know what's going on early in the season. It's going to take a few games for all of these computers to kind of get a handle on all 350 plus teams in the country this season. So I'm very interested to see what the line comes out as against Georgia State. That'll probably drop this afternoon on Thursday. But yeah, Sean Abayev, top attribute to watch out for. Top marquee reason to watch this game on Friday night. 7 of 12 from the floor, 18 plus points. It looked easy, and he was the first Bearcat freshman to score 18 since Sean Kilpatrick did it in 2010. Baba Miller, a good reason to watch as well. There's some dynamic athletes on this team, and it should be a fun season. Started off on the right foot with a 94-63 win over Western Carolina. For Neil Meyer, I'm Russ Eltman. This has been Bearcat Blitz, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll be back at it on Monday, recapping the what should be a easy win over Georgia State for the Cincinnati Bearcats basketball team, getting into the matchup against Dayton. Big one next week, the first real kind of legit test against a top 150 team coming up on Tuesday. And then it's Arizona week. Gotta take the Wildcats as seriously as possible. They can make some noise and play spoiler for the Bearcats if they are not on their P's and Q's. For Neil Meyer, I'm Russ Eltman. This has been Bearcat Blitz. We'll talk to you all again next week. Have a great weekend.
6, Ritter to the end zone, looking for Pierce. Did he hang on? Yes. Touchdown. Back as I've been around. Here he goes again. Busts free. Jerome Ford down the sideline. Foot race. House call. Touchdown. 79 yards. Big one in the Peach Bowl. This is a big one too.